All right, welcome into another episode of the Butt and Breneman Show. Adam, it's November 19th, second to last week of the college football regular season. The clock is ticking. Another college football playoff ranking came out last night. Ohio State at 1, Indiana at 2. You have Oregon at 7, up 1 spot. Then you have USC at 15, up 2 spots after that comeback win against Iowa. Michigan at 18, and then Illinois cracking the top 25, coming in at number 21. They were previously not ranked. So some good stuff there. Big Ten is well represented. Anything stand out to you about these rankings?
Yeah, I think for Big Ten fans, it's really cool to have a few teams on the bubble right now. Makes it for a fun next couple of weeks with Oregon, USC, Michigan. A lot would have to happen for Michigan to be alive in the playoff conversation, but could be alive in conference championship conversation. So I think it's really cool to have these conversations right now of what happens if USC beats Oregon, what happens if Oregon beats USC. The one thing that was clear from this past weekend, Jake, Ohio State and Indiana secured themselves as the top 2 teams in college football, and then there's everybody else. Texas A&M almost losing that game to South Carolina at home. Good comeback by them, but I really think now we have the college football playoff runs through the Big Ten. Ohio State and Indiana are the 2 best teams in college football right now, and the Big Ten has a chance to potentially, if depending on how things play out, get 4 teams in the playoff. The one thing, Jake, and I was watching all these playoff shows, so much is going to happen over the next few weeks. We're going to have conference championships. We have rivalry week to end the season. It's easy to get caught up in who can make it, who won't, but a lot can happen, and a lot's going to ride on this weekend's game with Oregon and USC.
Yeah, right now it's just a muddy, cloudy picture. There's a lot of really quality 2-loss and 1-loss teams that could end up with 2 losses. It's hard to predict. We do know that USC and Michigan, they do have a chance to get in there, but they would need some help and they would need to win out and look dominant. That's pretty much the simple picture. I think for Ohio State and Indiana, it's so important these days to get a bye in the college football playoff. These are long seasons. This is an NFL season.
No doubt.
And I can tell you, because I called Indiana's game last week. Coach Signetti, he literally told us, he said, the number one thing for us, we got to get healthy. They're just beat up, nicks and bruises. Bye week would do them well. Same with Ohio State, with Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith, both dealing with some type of injuries. And then I think for Oregon, Bren, they're at number 7. I don't think it's maybe like a 1 or 2% chance. Maybe they could crack into the top 4 and they could get a bye if they won out. But for them, I think the chance for Oregon is you could become the 5 seed, okay? 5 or 6 seed. That means a home game at Autzen. Awesome. And if you're the 5 seed, you're playing then the group of 5 representative. Yeah. That is probably the most coveted spot of any of the first round matchups.
Yeah, 100%. And I think given the bye week in the playoff, it's even more important for Ohio State and Indiana, knowing if things go the way they are right now, they're going to have an absolute bloodbath of a matchup in the Big Ten championship game. That is going to be a leave it all on the line type of game with the playoff coming up. So those bye weeks become even more important. We'll see with the playoff too. I think I put a tweet out the other day. There's a chance that we get 2 group of 5 teams in the playoffs. I don't think it's a super highly likelihood, but because of we could have the Sun Belt champ and the American champ ranked higher than the ACC champion if a 3-loss team wins that. So the 6 seed could be important as well. Oregon could be trying to climb up there. Jake, I want to ask you, because I'm genuinely curious as the Michigan man, what's Michigan's path right now from a playoff standpoint, from a Big Ten championship? Is there a path to the championship? It would take some losses from Ohio State, Indiana. They're probably out of that, right? But where do things stand with Michigan right now? I know we have a lot of Michigan fans that watch this show.
They do have a path to the Big Ten champ game. And I think for Michigan, it's really interesting, because if Michigan was able to win out and if Michigan was able to upset Ohio State, that would be the best win of the college football season, because Ohio State is ranked number 1. But right now, with where they're at number 18, it is a tough path. Remember, you got to crack really into the top 10 of the rankings, because there's another ACC champ that would have to get in a group of 5 teams. So Michigan has some work to do. I think their best path would be to somehow make the Big Ten championship, and how that would work. If Michigan wins out, they would then be in a tie with Ohio State. Michigan would have 1 conference loss to USC. Ohio State would have 1 conference loss to Michigan. So then Michigan would have the head-to-head. What would need to happen there for Michigan is the winner of the USC-Oregon game this weekend would need to lose the following week. Okay, so if Oregon beats USC, USC has 2 conference losses, they're out of the Big Ten champ game. Then you would need Oregon to lose to Washington, and Michigan would own the tiebreaker. Same would be true if USC beats Oregon. Michigan would need USC to lose the following week. So I don't know if that makes sense or very clear, but the point is Michigan needs to win out, and then they need the winner of the Oregon USC game to lose the following week. Then they'd be in the Big Ten champ game and have a chance to sneak in the playoffs. So
what you're saying is there's a chance.
There's a chance. There's a chance. But look, I think, right now it's like, tell me, Bren, for you when you were a player, like take me back to this time of year. What's different about like championship season when you're competing for an opportunity to compete for a Big Ten title or a great postseason run?
Yeah, I mean, the intensity picks up a ton, and you realize that every single minute of every week matters. You're also dealing with a lot of times this time of year, guys are banged up. It becomes more of a mental game than anything else. I mean, I remember the last few weeks of the season when I was at Penn State. I had my good freshman season there. I mean, I was barely practicing by the end. Our quarterback was barely practicing because everyone's all banged up. It's been a long season. So what happens, Jake, is it becomes more of a mental game than anything else. Who can get the edge with recovery and who can get the edge with preparation? Because you're not really, I mean, practices this time of year become like walkthroughs. I actually think if fans went to a practice in week 12 of college football season, they'd be surprised at how little hitting and how little full speed movement there actually is at practice. It's a lot of walkthroughs, mental drills, the starting team against the scout team, not much good on good competition at practice. So it becomes that much more of who can lock in and who can be more mentally prepared for the game. I think you realize at this point, if you're Oregon, if you're USC, as a player, you're definitely listening to the playoff conversations and what happens if Oregon beats USC. But at the same time, you realize, and you got to realize that there's so much out of our control. We don't understand what's going to happen. All we can control is the day in front of us. I think that's going to be the fascinating piece for Oregon USC in this game this weekend is can they block out all the noise, the talk about if Oregon beats if USC beats Oregon, are they going to be in the playoff? What happens to Oregon? None of that matters. You go on the grass, you play the game, and you let everything else take care of itself. But with all you're dealing with young kids. Like, can they block it all out and ignore the noise and be mentally prepared to win the game?
When you're talking about coaches making what they're making, like 10 million plus, eight figures, it's for this part of the season because it becomes a different sport from Sunday to Friday, like you're saying.
Yeah.
Like, how do you manage your roster? How do you even like your weightlifting schedule? Are they building strength or is it more recovery? Meeting what? How do you stay fresh and healthy? Just oftentimes it's like the healthiest team is the one that's best set up to make a deep playoff run. But let's break down this matchup. Starting with the Fansville hype man, my Fansville hype man is going to be the Oregon Ducks. And that Autzen is a tough place to play. Indiana did the impossible and went in there and pulled off a win. But this is a big test for USC. I think the number one thing I'm curious about here, Adam, is Oregon's run game with their offensive line and their deep running back room. When you look at USC, when they've struggled this season, Notre Dame ran all over them. Illinois ran all over them. Even Iowa was gashing them in the first half, and they were able to make the necessary corrections. All the matchups, coaching, it does not matter if USC doesn't compete at the line of scrimmage. If Oregon's breaking off 6, 7, 8-yard runs consistently, it's going to be a long day for the Trojans. The front seven for USC has to show up.
Yeah, without a doubt. My Fansville hype man is the USC Trojans. Shout out Dr. Pepper. I got the flag behind me, Jake, our great supporter, sponsor of this podcast. Listen, USC just proved, though, that they can play with the physical style in the Big Ten with their win against Iowa. I mean, they just proved it. And the Oregon run game is going to be a different beast, without a doubt. But I think this is a chance for Lincoln Riley to get the program-defining win at USC that he's been needing the last couple of years to prove that he can win on the road, which has been an issue for USC during his time there. To me, Jake, I wrote down before we got on here my few things that USC's got to do to win this game. First of all, you get into this game with Oregon where they're running the football well, and everyone wants to say, well, USC's got to dominate the line of scrimmage. I agree, but if USC wins this game, it's because they're going to hit a ton of explosives through the air. Their best players are going to make plays down the field. It's going to be because Jada Mayava, hits 10 passes for 20 plus yards, right? That is the formula for how USC wins these games. Now, Oregon has one of the best pass defenses in the country. If they can neutralize that and still push the ball down the field, that's going to be USC's path. I do think there needs to be some balance for USC in this game. The running back King Miller has been stable, averaging, I think I just saw 7 yards a carry through Big Ten play. If USC can establish some kind of run game on early downs, get into good situations on third down, then Oregon's pass defenses, you can make that defense more one-dimensional. You can put them in tough spots where they're trying to stop the run, and you can push the ball down the field. And then my third thing I thought about, I think this game will be won in the red zone, right? USC's defense has been really good in the red zone this season. They were great against Iowa. Oregon's offense has been great in the red zone. USC has been able to score touchdowns in the red zone. Who can score touchdowns once you get inside, let's say the high red zone, inside the 35-yard line, because points are going to be at a premium in this game. Who can score and not settle for field goals in that area? I'd expect Lincoln Riley. I mean, listen, you're 15th in the playoff poll. You want a chance to make the playoff. It is leave it all on the line in this game. I'd expect him to take chances, take risks, be going for it on fourth down, and try to let Jaden Mayava win this game by making plays on offense.
Yeah, I mean, listen, in down in the red zone, it's often more about players than plays. You need guys that just solve problems. And Mekhi Lemon, Jacoby Lane, even Lake McCree, just the weapons for the Trojans are really, really dangerous. And I think this is a big test for Oregon's secondary. I think Brandon Finney, I've said it, he's a true freshman. I think he should be a true All-American. He will be at some point in his career. But you look at the opponents that Oregon has faced. Indiana is far, in a way, the best passing offense that they've seen all year. Outside of it, they have not seen an offense like what USC is. So this is uncharted territory, and I think the biggest test of the season for the Oregon Ducks secondary. I mean, even Iowa, they don't give you anything in the back end, and yet those USC playmakers, they just made plays even when it wasn't perfectly drawn up. That's what those playmakers do. So really interested to see that matchup in the back end.
Jake, my key player in this game is Mekhi Lemon, because you look at Oregon against Indiana, their sole loss of the season to Elijah Surratt gave up 120 yards, I believe. Like Surratt had a big day, gave up a touchdown. So this is going to be the best playmakers Oregon has seen. But when you look at how they played against Indiana, they weren't great on pass D in that game. It's the reason they lost. So can Mekhi Lemon get loose? Can Jacoby Lane make some plays? Mekhi Lemon's got 4 games of 150 yards this season. I mean, this is a duo at wide receiver with Mekhi Lemon and Jacoby Lane that USC or that Oregon has not seen this season. So those wide receivers, specifically Mekhi Lemon, I think are going to be the impact players to watch.
And one more guy I'm interested, Bear Alexander, the D tackle for Oregon. I mean, he's a former Trojan, just an awesome story, highly rated recruit, couldn't ever kind of hit his stride and has found it here at Oregon. He's having a heck of a year. So I'd imagine this game is extra important, knowing that he was a Trojan before becoming a Duck, and Oregon's going to need to stop the line of scrimmage. But big game here. You want to do some score predictions before?
I was going to ask you. You go first. Who do you got?
Gosh, I just think the home field advantage is too big. It's too big. I love everything that Lincoln Riley's got going on right now. I think the Trojans, to me, clearly have taken a stride and are trending in the right direction as a program. But I think the home field advantage at Autzen and Oregon's offensive line and ability to run the ball is going to be too much. I'll take Oregon 31-25.
Okay, I'm flipping it. I'm gonna go USC. I'm gonna go USC. I think we got a high scoring game. I'm gonna go 38-31 USC in this game. I think we're gonna get a lot of points. I think that USC is gonna be able to move the ball, take shots down the field. I think Oregon's gonna be able to run the ball in this game, but ultimately USC's offense is gonna be too much. I look at Oregon losing to Indiana, and that this is gonna be a similar style of play. And I believe in Lincoln Riley this season. I think it's for real. That game against Iowa showed me something from USC and their ability to be physical. And I do think human nature takes over at some point, right? At some point, Lincoln Riley has to get this huge win. At some point, they got to go on the road and play really well. And everyone at USC knows what's on the line in this game. This is their chance to make the college football playoff, which would be incredible for that program, for that university. This is their opportunity to beat Oregon, and I think they prevail in this game. I think we got a high-scoring matchup, and I'm going with USC.
It's going to be a fun one for sure. An important game, a lot riding on that game. We'll be tuned in. Your guys have a fun one too. Nebraska on the road at Penn State. I know it doesn't have playoff implications. That's going to be fun. I'll be on the call for Maryland, Michigan. And then next week, of course, will be the rivalry week, which we're all looking forward to.
Jake, did you get a chance to see Terry Smith's press conference where he got emotional about being the Penn State head coach? I mean, that doesn't
unbelievable.
Tear up a little bit. I don't know what will.
Yeah, I mean, he's just that's an awesome moment, man. He just bleeds. I mean, he literally bleeds Penn State football. That was cool. So it'll be a fun one to watch this weekend. But all right, man, great to see you. I know you got some meetings to get to this morning, so thanks for tuning in. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we will see you next week on next week's episode.